and welcome here to more TALKFCB, and welcome back to the channel, guys. Ahead of what should have been a massive weekend for Barcelona, we all feel as though we should be leading right now. We had that opportunity against Granada, we let it slip, and that is why today I was really interested to see how Koeman was going to react in his press conference. Of course, there's going to be huge disappointment, huge frustration at the fact we fell down, but I think it was interesting today because Koeman at some stage held his hands up. He said, you know what, it is my fault. But then at other points in the press conference, I think that he was quite annoyed by the criticism that was coming his way after a bad defeat. And he also did give some insight there on a meeting he had with the heavyweights of the team after the loss. It is all coming up ahead of Barça against Valencia, which is still very important for us. And certainly there, it did not take long in the press conference for Koeman to start being bombarded with questions there about the defeat, about the manner of defeat, and exactly what caused that loss. And in particular there, Koeman was asked, was it because of the pressure on the shoulders of the players? Could they not handle that pressure there of becoming the leaders of the league? But Koeman, he didn't really seem to accept that. He said, well, it's also a case of this being a very strong league. He said every game that you come up against in this league, it is a tough one. He said all of the big teams as well have played a lot of matches. He said we also have a lot of injuries, and he said if you're not 100%, he said you will pay the price, as we saw against Granada. He said in attack we need to be more effective in front of goal. He said, and of course in defence too we need improvements. He said we need to be more concentrated, we need to close down the spaces better. He said we know that we need to improve, and that's certainly what we have to see against Valencia. No question. But it was interesting then, like I say, because Koeman was straight up asked there by the journalist, do you feel as though you are responsible for the loss? In moments like this, where things don't go the team's way, do you feel as though, yes, it's you that has to take the brunt there of the criticism? And Koeman came back and he said, look, he said, as the coach, I'm always responsible. He said, I'm the one who picks the starting lineup. He said, I pick the rotations. He said, I pick the subs. He said, so yeah, you could look at it there and say, you know what? I am the one, nobody else. I'm the one that's responsible. But I'm honestly not really sure what sort of tone that Koeman was saying that in there, whether he genuinely believed that yes, it was him that was responsible for the defeat, because the next question there was about Umtiti and about the rotations. Because Koeman was asked there, it was 2 months since Umtiti's last league start, so why did he really play in the game, very important game that it was, against Granada? And then Koeman came back. He said, look, it was a technical decision. He said, I wanted to rotate the team, and he's been training very well, so I played him. He said, I don't think that we should fixate too much on the changes that we made. He said, we didn't change that much. And then he went on to say, if we'd have won, nobody would have spoken about the rotations. So Koeman on the one hand there is saying, you know what, I'm the one who picks the team, I'm the one who makes the changes, I am responsible. But in the very next breath, he's saying, you know what, don't talk about the rotations. Let's not focus there on what we changed, because if we'd have won, nobody would have spoken about it. But I would look at that there and say, even before the game started, looking at that team, we were saying, why is Roberto starting? Why have we excluded Dest again from the team? And indeed with Longley being replaced there by Umtiti, that was strange. Even before the game started, it wasn't like it was a reactionary take there after we'd already lost. The concerns were there, and I'm surprised really that Koeman is defending those changes. And certainly there, it got even more intriguing because it has been very heavily reported over the past day or so in the Catalan media that after that game against Granada, Ronald Koeman there took aside not everybody from the squad, but certainly there the heavyweights and indeed the captains to speak after that Granada loss and basically try and pick the team back up. And MD there coming out with the cover saying Koeman therapy. And Koeman was actually asked there by the journalist in the press conference, what did you speak about in that meeting with the players? He said, well, of course, we were really disappointed. He said it was a great opportunity for us to go top, but he said it's also a sign that there aren't any easy games. He said we don't have time, and that's what I said, we don't have time to be depressed about it because we're still in the fight. He said if we win all of our remaining games, we can still win the title. That's what we said. But there was then a follow-up question to that one, which did seem to anger a little bit there on the side of Ronald Koeman, because he was asked there, were there any disagreements in that meeting? Were there any things that were said which maybe wasn't accepted or wasn't really reciprocated there by everybody in that meeting? And Koeman there, he wasn't happy. He said, I don't know why you asked me this kind of question. He said, we all want the best for the club. He said, these are players who've won many, many things. And he then went on to say, for me, when I change things, when I want to make some sort of changes, I always talk with the team's captains first. I ask what they think, and then it's my responsibility to make a decision, and that's it. We shouldn't look for any more problems. And that is interesting there again, to say that before he makes changes, before he wants to tweak things, maybe with the system, maybe there in terms of rotations, does he talk with the team's captains to get their approval? Or is that simply there a discussion, a bit of dialogue to understand the team's feeling before Koeman then makes that choice? But that was certainly a very interesting statement there by Ronald Koeman, before he was then indeed asked about his own situation. And by that, I mean the sending off that he suffered against Granada. And I absolutely cannot believe this entire situation, because as you know, when Granada there had the equalising goal, Ronald Koeman, and swiftly after that goal was sent to the stands, a straight red from the referee. And I think at the time we all thought, whoa, what has Koeman said there? It must have been something very, very serious. He must have been unhappy about something. But then in the referee's report after the game, it then emerged that all Koeman had done is said, what a character. That's literally all that he said. And you think about all the things that are said during the game between players, between coaches on the sideline, even when fans are in attendance, what they say, towards the players, and that, it seems like absolutely nothing to me. Yet Koeman was sent off, and not only that, but now he's going to face a 2-match suspension in 2 massive games. He's going to miss Valencia, and he's not going to be on the sidelines there as it stands against Atletico Madrid. And Koeman said the following. He said, we're going to appeal the decision. He said, for sure we're going to appeal that because it seems very exaggerated to me. He said, all that I said was what a character. And I get a 2-match ban for that. He said if I'd have said something worse, maybe if I'd have actually insulted someone, he said maybe then they'd have given me 20 games. He said, but if I'm not on the bench, I'll be in the stands, of course. And he said, we already have started to prepare things there with my staff. And I'm sure that if Koeman is not available, it is once again going to be his assistant, Alfred Schroeder, who's going to be on the sidelines, as we saw. And the two are going to be in dialogue, I'm sure, on the phone throughout the game. But that there, guys, is how Koeman faced the media after what was one of the big disappointments of our season. Like I say, we do feel as though we should have been top by now. We do feel as though it was a massive missed chance. But we still have 5 games. Barça head to Mestalla, and as long as we keep winning, there is a chance. The full match preview is going to be coming over on TALKFCB later on. We will keep on fighting until it's mathematically impossible. I will see you then, guys. Thank you indeed for tuning in, and of course, as always, leave those thoughts down below on everything we have discussed today. I'll see you later, but until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!